So we had left with the constraint. So yes. So we had left with yesterday constraint. So constraint says these are the rules given to validate the data. I'll repeat. Constraints. Constraints are the rules given to validate the data. The data is nothing but the columns, especially because uh, SQL is all about storing some information in form of tables. I'll repeat. SQL is all about storing some information and retrieving that again, or doing some modification, doing some manipulation. It's all about the table itself. So whatever we will be storing, whatever we will be retrieving, are all based on the tables. And we know that a table has rows and columns along with cells. So to validate those columns, constraints are the rules given to validate the data. And the data is nothing but the columns. To, to validate the columns, we have to use constraint. And we have five types of constraints. We have five types of constraints. The one is unique constraint, not null, check, primary key, and foreign key. I'll repeat. We have five types of constraint: unique, not null, check, primary key, and foreign key. Does anyone have any idea what is unique? Unique?
Unique means it's not repeated.
Yes. Unique is nothing but not repeated, no duplicates. Then not null, not null,
Uh, like empty,
not null.
empty, no, like no empty. Filled
Uh,
with some data or
Oh, yes. We have to fill the data with something, anything. It should not be null. See, if it is null, empty. Not null, not empty. Check. Fine. We'll see one by one. Unique. Unique constraint says it is a constraint which cannot accept repeated or duplicated values. I'll repeat. Unique is a constraint which cannot accept repeated or duplicate values. It will not accept duplicate values. Then not null. Not null constraint says it is a constraint which cannot accept null values. See, give me a second. I'll consider I'm creating some table. See some table, and here I have to fill some information. Uh, Let it be employee table. Let it be employee table. And this from employee table, we will be having something called employee name. Employee name, employee salary, phone number, phone number, department number, department number. So I'll repeat. Consider we are storing some information in the table. A new batch, batch number 111. So batch number 111. Consider we are all the employees, and we have to create a table now for your information. So employee name. So let it be A. Employee name A. And before that, so before we enter any values into these columns, before we enter any values in these columns, we have something called constraint. So ename. Ename says it is unique. It is unique, which means all the name which we will be entering should be unique. For example, I'm entering A. and then B, and then again A. So this one says repeated. It won't accept A again because here I have given the constraint as unique. So this is how we will be checking the columns. See, this is a column, the employee name column, which should not accept duplicate. E name should not accept duplicate. So I'm giving this one as unique. If it is unique, anywhere in this column, it will not accept duplicates. All the names should be unique. All the names should be unique. So if it is salary, this is also not null. I'm making it as not null. So here salary is 10, none, 20. See here I'm making the salary column as not null, which means here I'm giving some null values. It won't accept. It says fill any value. It will pop up with a red color saying that fill any value. You would have seen this while filling any form. If you will be having some number of fields, you will be filling all, but you will be missing any one. It says that required. It is required to fill. You must fill it. If you fill it, then you can submit. There will be there will be a submit button. Until you fill the required field, you cannot submit the button. You cannot submit the file. Similarly, here, if we are using not null, if we are using not null, we have to fill any one of the value. Even if it is repeated, that's okay. We have to fill any one of the value. I'll go with 10 again. So this is not null. I'll repeat. Unique constraint says it is a constraint which cannot accept repeated or duplicated values. So here I'm having again, let me go with one more name. If I'm filling B again, it says no, already B exists. Give any other name. So I cannot fill B again. I should fill something else, the unique one, C. Then it accepts. So that is unique and not null. It is a constraint which cannot accept null values, not null. So here I've given the not null, which means I have to fill any other one or the other value. At any cost, I have to fill. Even if it is the same, even if it is the same, that's okay. But we have to fill any one of the value. It should not be null. It should not be empty. That is called as not null. Then something called check. So check. It is an extra validation assigned to the column with a condition. Check constraint says it is an extra validation assigned to the column with a condition. If the condition is satisfied, it returns the output. I'll repeat. For example, see, let it be phone number. I have phone number, and we know that phone number has 10 digits. 10 digits. So here I'm just having 4 cells. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But during the real time, it will be more than thousands because there will be thousands of numbers. And if I'm having just 4, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10. If I'm having 4 numbers, I can count it very simply. What in case if I'm having thousands? I'm having 1,000 cells, and I have to count all those 1,000 phone numbers, whether all the phone numbers that are entered are having exactly 10 digits or not. I want to check, I want to check that. So I want to check that whatever the phone numbers that are entered into these 1,000 cells, I want to check whether they are exactly 10 numbers or 9 numbers. So for that, what I'll do, we have a syntax for that. Check the length of the column with its size. This is a one syntax to check the length of the column. So check the length of the column size. If I'm having 4 number, here I'm having 4 number column, so I have to go with 4 number only. So check length. The phone number length will be 10. So check whether the phone number column, whether the whether the phone column has exactly 10 digit or not. So if we use this line, this is a syntax. This is a syntax. Check length, column name, size. So we have to use check and the length. If it is phone number, we have to make the column name as phone number. If it is Aadhaar card, then we have to specify the column as Aadhaar card. But and we should also know that if it is phone number, we should specify the size as 10, and if it is Aadhaar card, we should specify the size as 12, so that it will count whether the Aadhaar card has exactly 12 digits or not, or whether the phone number column has exactly 10 digits or not. So consider I'm having once again. So this is the same again. So I'm having 1000 cells here. Consider this is cell 1, cell phone number 1, phone number 1000, phone number 1000. So I cannot keep on count each and every cell whether it has exactly 10 digits or not. So what I'll do, I'll use one constraint, check the length 10 with the phone number column. Check whether the phone number column has exactly 10 digits number or not. That's it. If I use this index, within fraction of seconds, within hardly 2 to 3 seconds, all the 1000 phone numbers will be counted. It says whether all the cells has exactly 10 digits or not. If it is exactly 10 digits, no worries. But whichever cell that has 8 numbers or 9 numbers or 11 numbers, except 10, if they are exactly 10, that is okay. But if it is less than 10 or more than 10, those cells will be highlighted separately. These are the numbers which has less than 10 values or more than 10 values. So we have to correct these by contacting the respective people. We have to contact them again. What's your phone number? We have to collect it again, update it from the first, and again after updating all these things, same syntax again. Check these phone numbers once again. Again, if any phone number is less than 10 or greater than 10, those cells will be separated again. They will be bifurcated separately. These are the two cells which are having phone numbers less than 10 or more than 10. So this is check. We don't do this anyways, but still you should know how this check will work. Is it clear so far with check? Abhishek and team?
Okay, yes.
Yes. Then coming to primary key and foreign key. So we have something called primary key constraint and foreign key constraint. So primary key constraint, this one says it is a constraint which is uniquely identifies the records from the table. Primary key, it is a constraint which is uniquely identifies the record from the table. For example, consider we are on hometown. We'll be going to our hometown, and we'll be walking in this one street. We'll be walking in a street, and there will be a number of houses here, and there will be people who will be sitting around. There will be people who are sitting around. If you are walking like this, if you are walking straight to somewhere, and the people who looks at us, and the last one, if they know, so there are three people, and the middle one says, "Who is this girl? Who is this boy?" So the one who knows, anyone, they says that she is the daughter of such a person. She is the daughter of such a person, or he is the son of such a person. I'll repeat. So here we also have some name. We also have some name and we also have some identification. But still, they don't use our identification. They use our primary key identification. Primary key, the leader of the family. They'll use the leader of the family. So that is primary key. So here, of course, we will be having a family, father, mother, brother, sisters, or yes, fine. We'll be having a family. If somebody asked, who is she? They says that she is the daughter of such a person. If they ask, who is he? They says he is the son of such a person. If they ask again, who is she? She is the wife of such a person. So here, even if it is mother, brother, or sister, they all are under the so they are all are taken care by the head of the family, and he is the father. So father is the one who represents the entire family. Similarly, we will be having a number of columns. We will be having a number of columns. Let it be any number. Instead of we have many columns. So I'm having hardly 8 to 9 columns. But even though if we have 9 columns, there will be one primary key. We have to consider one column as a leader so that that particular one column will represent the entire 8 columns. I'll repeat, any one from these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 columns. From these 8 columns, we can consider any one column as a leader, and that column will represent the entire table or the remaining columns. So that is called as primary key, the leader of the family or the leader of the table. Leader of the table. We'll see what is PK, primary key, which means, see, we just discussed that we have 8 columns and we have to consider any one column as a leader. But if we want to consider any one column as a leader, that column should have some characteristics, some rules, and that particular column should have some characteristics. If that column has those categories or those characteristics, then we can consider that this column is eligible to become a primary key. I'll repeat. We have 8 columns. We don't know which column to select as a primary key, the leader of this table. But to select that leader, there should be some characteristics. If any of the columns meets that criteria, then we can consider that column as a leader. Let us see what is that characteristics. So primary key cannot accept duplicate or repeated values. Primary key cannot accept duplicated or repeated values, which means we will be having different columns with different cells, different information. So let it be some column 1, 1, 2, 3, again 1. So here I cannot consider the first column as the leader because it says that primary key cannot accept duplicated or repeated values. So the column should not have any repeated values. If it has any repeated values, that column cannot be considered as a leader. So column should be unique. Whatever the information they have stored in those cells, particular cells or the entire column, all the values should be unique. There should be no duplicates, no repeated. Even if we have one repeated, that column is not eligible to become a leader. So that is primary key. I'll repeat. Primary key cannot accept duplicated or repeated values. So here we have duplicate value 1, 1. So it cannot become a leader. This column is ignored. It is not eligible. Primary key cannot accept null values. Again, A, B, null, C. Now let us go with the second column. If we want to consider the second column as a leader, it should not have any null values. The column which has to become a leader, it should not have any repeated values or it should not have any null values. So here there is no repeated. A, B, C, all are unique, but it has some null values. It would have been any value here. So it has null value. Even this column is not eligible. Even this column is not eligible to become a leader. So very simple. A primary key is a combination of unique and not null constraint. Primary key is the combination of unique and not null constraint, which means whichever column that wants to become a leader, it should meet only two categories or two characteristics. The first characteristic is it should not have repeated values and it should not have any null values. No repeated, no null values. So whichever column meets these two criteria, that column is a leader. I'll repeat. No, no duplicate values, no null values. So whichever column meets these two criteria, that is PK. That can become a leader of the table. We'll see once again. So you have to remember these five lines so that you can understand even better after a moment. So primary key cannot accept duplicated or repeated values. It cannot accept null values. Primary key is the combination of unique and not null constraint. So the column which wants to become a leader, that column should not have any repeated values and that column should not have any empty values. All the values should be filled and all those values should be unique. So that column can become a leader. And the table can accept only one column as a primary key. The table can accept only one column as a primary key. So consider here these three columns are eligible. These three columns are eligible to become a PK, primary key, because this column has no repeated values and no null values. This is also no repeated, no null, no repeated, no null. But only one column can be considered as a leader. So we have to go with the advantages from these three. Whichever column has maximum advantage, we have to consider that column as a leader. I'll explain once again. This is just a basic example. I'll go with practical little later. So I'll repeat. The table can accept only one column as a primary key. Primary key is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. Primary key is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. See, there is no need of considering any column as a leader, but still it is highly recommended. It's like a class CR. We would have seen this in our school days or college days. Of course, the CR from the class, he's also a student. He is also a student, but still we will consider him as a CR because he will work behalf of us. If we have any queries, whatever the information that has to be get from the management or whoever it might be, we will not ask directly to the management, but we will send the CR on us what is the thing. So it is not required, but still highly recommended. It is highly recommended. So we'll see this once again. I'll read this one last time again. Characteristics of primary key. So the characteristics of a leader from the table. Primary key cannot accept duplicated or repeated values, no null values, and it is a combination of unique and not null constraint. So if the column wants to become a leader of the table, it should not have any duplicate values and it should not have any null values. The column should be filled with one of the other value and all those values should be unique. There should be no repeated or duplicated. And only one column can become a leader. The table can accept only one column as a leader. And primary key is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. I'll explain this once again. And before all that, so again, foreign key, something called foreign key. So foreign key, it is the constraint which is used to establish the connection between two tables. I'll repeat. Foreign key. It is a constraint which is used to establish the connection between two tables. For example, consider this is my home, and then this is my home, and this is my friends. This is my friend. So if I want to plan for a trip, so I'll ask my dad. I'll ask my family, and they'll ask me, with whom you're going? I'll tell that this is my friend. I'm going with Mahesh. I'm going with this person. So what they'll think, they'll not contact Mahi. They will contact his father. His father. See, they'll not contact my father. So sorry, they'll not accept directly. No, they don't ask my friend directly. They both my family parent, so my parent and their parents, they both will discuss. What's the thing? These people are planning to offer a trip. What shall we do? They'll discuss, and finally they'll let us know whether to go or not. So my father, my father is a leader of my family, and his father is a leader of his family, which means for my friend, his father is a primary key, and for me, my father is a primary key. But for my friend, my father is a foreign key, and for me, his father is a foreign key, some from somewhere else. So similarly, if I'm having two tables, if I'm having two tables, I'm having two tables. Now, if I want to retrieve some data, I want to let it be table E, and this is table B. Now I want to retrieve some data from table E. I can do it directly. I can do it, select so on so inform, select the E name from table E. So I'll get the information from table E. And if it is separately from table B, again, select some information from table B. So only from table B, it will be retrieved. But in case if I want the information from table 1 and also table 2, in such case, I have to I have to use the foreign table. I have to use the parent of the foreign table because each table has a leader. This table has one leader, and this table also has one leader. And this is, for example, this is the one. This column is a leader of this table, and this column is a leader of this table. If I want information from both the tables, I have to return some information from table one also, table two also. So I have to contact these two leaders first, the leader of table one and leader of table two. I have to connect those two people so that they will get the information. I'll explain once again this one. So it is a constraint which is used to establish the connection between two tables. And there is a characteristics for this one also. Foreign key also has few characteristics that has this can accept duplicated or repeated values. If it is foreign key, if it is foreign key, that can accept duplicated or repeated values, and it will also accept null values. See, if it is primary key, no repeated, no duplicate, no null values. If it is foreign key, it can accept duplicate, it can accept null values, it can accept repeated values. There is no use. So it is not a combination of unique and not null constraint. So foreign key. So foreign key, that means the parent, the leader of second table, the leader of second next family. We don't bother. See, we care about our family first. We don't bother about the next family. In similarly, if you are considering some table as a foreign key, it doesn't matter whether that table has a duplicated one, a repeated one, null value or not null value. We don't bother. We just want to contact with the leader. That's it. So similarly, if it is foreign key, this can accept duplicated or repeated values. It will also accept null values. It is not a combination of unique and not null constraint. It is not a combination of unique and not null constraint. Then the table can accept more than one column as a foreign key. So if this is foreign key, so here, if it is primary key, only one column is eligible to become a leader. But here in foreign key, any number of columns, any column can become the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, any one. But so the table can accept more than one column as a foreign key. But if a column wants to become a foreign key, if a column wants to become a foreign key, any column might be this one, this one, this one, this one, any one column wants to become a foreign key, it is mandatory for primary key to be on its own table. I'll repeat. If a column wants to become a foreign key from the second table, if any column wants to become a leader, but it is mandatory for primary key to be on its own table. Or you will not understand this line with the theory. I'll explain this with an example. You'll understand even better. I'll read this one last time. If a column wants to become a foreign key, It is mandatory for primary key. It is mandatory for primary key to be on its own table. I'll explain this little later. So foreign key present in child table, but it belongs to parent table. Foreign key present in child table. See, this is primary key. This is parent table, the main table, parent table. This is foreign key, the child table, the smaller one. This is child, and the first table will always be parent. That's what? Foreign key present in child table, but it belongs to parent table. Foreign key is also called as a referential integrity constraint. I'll repeat. Foreign key. This foreign key is also called as referential integrity constraint. Referential integrity constraint. I'll just read this one last time. Foreign key. It is a constraint which is used to establish the connection between two tables. And we have some characteristics with respect to foreign key, namely, this can accept duplicated and repeated values. It will also accept null values. It is not a combination of unique and not-null constraint. The table can accept more than one column as a foreign key, more than one column as a foreign key. If a column wants to become a foreign key, it is mandatory for primary key to be on its own table. I'll explain this within a moment. A foreign key present in child table, but it also belongs to parent table. Foreign key is also called as referential integrity constraint.